The quest to climb Everest started in 1921 in Darjeeling, India. From here, over the course of 20 years, the British launched 6 unsuccessful expeditions to the north side of Everest. Supporting every effort were the Sherpas, known for their strength at altitude. By the 1950s, the Swiss had joined the British in a race to put the first man on the summit. Both nations knew that to be successful, they needed the greatest Sherpa climber of the day, Tenzing Norgay. As Sirdar, or Sherpa leader, Tenzing acted as the conduit between his Sherpa climbing team and the foreigners. This year, on his way to Everest, Tenzing Norgay's son Jamling is seeking out the last surviving Sherpas who worked on the early expeditions with his father.
I shared a tent with your father in 1953. Before the expedition, we didn't have much to do. At home, I collected wood. That's all.
Tenzing worked for my family as a young man. Early on, he became bored with village life, so he went to Darjeeling, where there were better opportunities for making money.
Anyone who wanted work had to stand in line in Darjeeling, whether they wanted to be a climber or a porter. They would examine each Sherpa to see if they had any diseases or physical problems. If someone had an illness, they would hire the next guy.
Tenzing hired porters to carry 10 tons of food and equipment to the mountain. They were not all Sherpa. Some were Tamang or Rai, other hill tribes of Nepal.
In 1953, there were close to 1,000 porters, so many we couldn't all travel at once. We had 3 groups of 300 or so.
They carried loads into the thin air, both men and women, toward the base of Everest. Most wore clothes too thin to ward off cold and frostbite. And many made the 175-mile trip barefoot. As the expedition moves closer to Everest, almost every village they pass through shows the impact of the extraordinary efforts of Sir Edmund Hillary. He devoted his life after Everest to improving the lives of the Sherpas.
This is, I think, about the 3rd poorest country in the world. Half their children die within a year or 2 of birth. Life is not easy here. And you realize you can make a difference. Dad was asked by some of his Sherpa friends, would you build us a little school so our children can write their own name and maybe get a better job? And he thought it was just going to be one school, and it's gone on to over 30 schools, 2 hospitals, 11 medical clinics. There is still a lot to do, and I think we only have to go a few valleys off to each side of the Everest region to visit communities where their lives haven't changed at all.
Sadly, the Hillary family commitment to the Sherpas took a personal toll. 2 memorials called Chortens marked the tragic turn of events.
These 2 Chortens were built for my mother and my sister. In 1975, we were building our 2nd hospital up here in the Everest area when they climbed on a small aeroplane that crashed, and they were all killed. I just turned 20 years of age. We'd actually come to Nepal to live here for a year. We had lots of projects that we planned, and it was going to be a big family adventure as well. That was a terrible time for our family, and so this is a place that we've come to remember them.
Upon the death of Peter's mother, a woman named Ang Duli took Peter under her wing and became his Sherpa mother.
Coming to Kundi and staying with Ang Duli gives me enormous strength. It's like coming back and being with family.
Peter's father is a great man. He's done good work here, and Peter is his only son. Peter going to the top of Everest again doesn't make me very happy. I'm going to be very worried. Every morning, I'll say prayers and burn juniper.
Very careful. Bye-bye.
Another son of Everest, Brent Bishop, is also on the expedition. His father, Dr. Barry Bishop, made Everest history 40 years ago when he and 4 other climbers on a National Geographic expedition became the first Americans to stand on top. Unfortunately, Barry Bishop, Director of Research and Exploration at National Geographic, died suddenly in 1994. Just 4 months earlier, Brent climbed Everest, but their ability to reflect on their common experience was cut short. Now he's back, seeking answers.
My father was killed in a car accident. My mother and I and my sister came to Tangboche Monastery. We spent 3 days here with the monks conducting a ceremony that is the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which is a roadmap to get the soul from its death point to the next life. And the Chorten was built shortly after that. I left a picture of my 2 sons. Their ages 4 and 6, and the older one's name is Barry, and he's named after my father. And unfortunately, my father never met them. So I just thought I'd leave a picture on the Chorten for them maybe to get to know each other a bit.
Brent has spent extensive time in Nepal, but even he is surprised by the heavy burden and young ages of some porters.
How heavy is this? How many kilos?
I think 26 kilos.
26 kilos? And how many kilos are you?
25.
Here, let's take this off. I'll give you my pack, and I'll take the load.
Yeah.
Here, ready?
Sorry.
You'll have to help me get this up. Let's see how this works. On a tump line. You ready? Dawa says he's 18, but I think he might be a little younger, and he's carrying some pretty massive loads. This is just a piece of old burlap bag around my head, and you know, it balances okay, but to haul this all day, I can feel my spine compressing. I'd be about 2 inches shorter by the end of the day. It's just amazing, the strength and endurance that these porters and these Sherpas have. This weighs as much as Dawa does. So that's me carrying a 165-pound pack all day without sort of blinking. I can't do it. There's no way. You ready, Dawa?
Yeah.
The name Sherpa means people of the East. It is a tribal name for a culture, not a job description. But on every